In today's video, the president has called for Mayor Brandon Johnson to be arrested. Also, the government is closer to dismantling Antifa. And finally, a Democrat candidate for the governorship of California humiliates herself during a terrible interview. And all these stories will show you what both sides are saying and then give you the bottom line.
President Trump this morning called for Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker to be jailed for, quote, failing to protect ICE officers. What is your response?
Well, first of all, this president is unstable, unhinged, a double-minded individual that, quite frankly, is a threat to our democracy. And it's certainly not the first time that Donald Trump has called for the arresting of a black man unjustly. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay firm as the mayor of this amazing city, which was voted 9 years in a row the best big city in America, and we're going to defend all of Chicago.
Yeah, and to be clear, he's also calling for the governor, J.B. Pritzker, to be jailed as well.
Okay, number one, being voted the best big city means nothing. Okay, because the people doing that vote does not come from the people of Chicago. It comes from private companies and magazines. And are we really going to give any credence to that talking point from the mayor? It's interesting that that's what he reached for. And secondly, there's nothing racial about this. This is about incompetence and putting the people of Chicago in harm's way. Sooner or later, something has to happen to this mayor, like getting him voted out of office, impeachment. Now, unfortunately, Chicago, based on their laws, that's not going to happen. And that's why he has the lowest approval rating in history as mayor of Chicago. Now, here's what the president had to say just moments ago during his roundtable on Antifa about the mayor and the governor. Take a listen.
This low IQ mayor gets up. I mean, he got up. He's got a 5% approval rating, and the people are all against him. They want people to come. Beautiful black women are wearing a MAGA hat last night on television. Beautiful people. And they said, we don't care who comes, just stop the crime. They don't care, frankly, they don't care if it's National Guard, military, send in anybody you want, stop the crime. And they're afraid to go out. They can't even go out. And then a guy like Pritzker, think of that, 50, 60, 70 people over a short period of time murdered, actually murdered, mostly gun violence, but knives, but gun violence, they're murdered. And
so here's the question for you guys to answer in the comment section below. Do you believe the mayor should be arrested or at a minimum removed from office? And should the governor have that same fate as well? Because I'm not too sure they care about keeping the people of Chicago safe at this point. Just look at their rhetoric, look at their behavior, signing an executive order, establishing ICE-free zones. Are you kidding me? What type of leader does things like that? I mean, you're clearly signaling to criminals to continue to do what they do. But understand something. The Trump administration is not backing down, just so we're all clear. Now, here is the other excuse from Mayor Brandon Johnson on why, I guess he's kind of admitting there is a crime problem, why it exists. Take a look.
Trump, if he was serious about safety, he would not have defunded a program of $800 million that was geared towards violence prevention. He cut the ATF budget by 30%. He has defunded our education system. He has defunded our transportation system. He is firing black women across this country. He's defunding our healthcare system. This president is absolutely out of control, and it's incumbent upon all of us. If there was ever a time for working people to unite in this country, now is that time. And the city of Chicago is going to stand firm in protecting humanity and protecting and defending our democracy.
All right,
let's just take his logic as truth. Maybe he defunded them because clearly they don't work. They're not getting the results that the people of Chicago demand. And these are Democrats, too, that don't like the crime in Chicago, just like what we've seen in Washington, D.C., just like what's happening in Portland, and also what happened in Los Angeles. You will not be hard-pressed to find Democrats crying about crime in their cities. And at the same time, they're also walking hypocrites because they complain about it, but still vote people like Mayor Brandon Johnson in. So it's just a terrible fate for these cities. Now, here is Tom Homan and what he had to say about all this. Take a look.
Governor Pritzker should be calling President Trump up and thanking him for taking over 1,000 criminal aliens off the streets of his state. The same President Trump did in Los Angeles, the same he did in Washington, D.C., the same we're doing in other cities. We're there to make this city safer. And you think Governor Pritzker and the Mayor Johnson, their number one responsibility is protection of communities. Remove public safety threats from the public. We're there to do that. And we're not going to stop doing it. They can stand aside and watch us do it, but we're going to be out there tonight. We're going to be out there tomorrow. And, thank God for Governor Abbott. He's sending troops out there to help protect ICE officers who have over 1,000% increase in attacks. So President Trump's doing the right thing. We're going to continue doing the right thing. We are not stopping what we're doing.
All right. So allow me to share a quick message from today's sponsor, Bearskin. Yes, it is summertime right now, but let's not forget winter will come. And the last thing you need is a hoodie that sucks. It's a great time to do your winter shopping, which is why most people are smart by locking in their 60% off with Bearskin. What is Bearskin exactly? It's what I'm wearing right now. It's a hoodie that is built like a tank, 340 GSM micro fleece, 10 pockets with a clean, rugged fit that looks awesome. As you guys can see, I look great, right? I mean, come on. Plus, it zips right into a heavy storm rain jacket to become 100% waterproof when you need it. So when it turns cold, wet, or rainy, you're not scrambling last minute. Plus, you're going to get free U.S. shipping, fast delivery, and your winter gear already locked in. So get your Bearskin today by texting my name, Devori, to 36912. Again, text my name, Devori, to 36912 to get 60% off. They'll send you a link so you could check out on your own time. Once again, text my name, Devori, to 36912. That's a good point from Tom Homan. The fact that the president has to send National Guard troops to protect ICE officers already tells us there's an issue with the way that city is governed. The fact that the police department receives stand-down orders, they have been instructed not to respond to police calls. I mean, this is just crazy. Now, on that point about responding to a police call, because we know ICE officers were rammed off the road by some criminals in Chicago, get this, a judge today released these individuals back into the community. Take a listen.
Judy, the judge in this case basically said that neither Miramar Martinez nor Anthony Reese pose a flight risk, and so she has ordered them freed pending their trial. Now, their cases have been jointed together in the same legal complaint, even though both were driving separate vehicles on the day in question, and according to their friends and family, they do not know each other. In court today, prosecutors described Miramar Martinez and Anthony Reese's actions as extremely dangerous and extremely reckless, saying the two had been following the Border Patrol agent's vehicle for 20 to 30 minutes before the alleged ramming took place Saturday morning, adding that the defendants weren't in the wrong place at the wrong time. The complaint, filed in court, alleges that on October 4th, 3 Border Patrol officers acting as security detail were driving a silver Chevy Tahoe in Oak Lawn when they were aggressively pursued by what is described as a convoy of civilian vehicles. That convoy, alleges the complaint, was attempting to box them in when they were struck, first by Martinez, then moments later by Ruiz, near 39th Place in Kedzie. Martinez was shot 5 times by agents, then arrested at a repair shop a mile away, while Reese was arrested at a gas station nearby. The criminal complaint, including photos of the CBP-driven vehicle, along with photos of both Martinez's and Reese's vehicles, with damage they say is consistent with the ramming.
So essentially, now the court system has to take up cases like this instead of prosecuting the actual criminals and throwing them behind bars. We live in a country today where Democrats do not believe what these individuals are doing are a problem. They believe ICE officers are more of a problem than these 2 criminals. These 2 criminals who are taking matters into their own hand, committing crimes against law enforcement. I guess that's not a problem for them. Shocking, right? Well, I don't think it's as shocking as what the governor just had to say this morning about the president and everything happening in his great state. Take a listen.
You know as well as I do, the President of the United States in the last 24 hours called for you to be imprisoned. I want to give you an opportunity. We've seen your reaction on social media, but I want to hear what you have to say back to the President of the United States.
Well, let's start with the idea that this is a convicted felon. I mean, think about that, who is threatening to jail me. I got to say, this guy's unhinged. He's insecure. He's a wannabe dictator. And there's one thing I really want to say to Donald Trump. If you come for my people, you come through me. So come and get me.
Yeah, that's political theater at its best, right? I mean, come on. I mean, what are you challenging a fight? Listen, this is childish behavior, unfortunately. And of course, they accuse the president of being a child, but they respond as children would respond in a lot of these situations. Instead of responding in a more reserved and confident and calm and level-headed approach, which we heard from the individual in charge of CPD, where he stated, hey, we cannot allow crime to go down this road. You may disagree, but taking matters into your own hands and committing crimes, we are not going to stand for it. Why is it so hard for the governor to condemn this criminal behavior against federal authorities? Well, it's hard for him to do it because he believes it's justified. We know Democrats believe political violence against their political opponents is definitely justified. All right, so now we go to our next story, and this is in regards to the Antifa, because when you're talking about justice and holding people accountable, this has been long overdue. So the president hosted a roundtable on Antifa and what they plan to do about this terrorist group, in my opinion. And here's what he had to say. Take a listen.
Under the last administration, the Department of Justice targeted faithful Catholics, Christians, and patriotic parents as domestic extremists. They said, oh, they're extreme because they believe in God. They're extreme because they go to a Catholic church, or evangelicals, where everybody was under the gun. Unless you were a really bad, sick person, then they left you alone. Under the Trump administration, we're going after Antifa criminals, and all who fund and support their campaigns are in serious trouble. And we have a lot of records already, a lot of surprises, a lot of bad surprises. It's people that you would never think. Everything we're doing is very lawful. What they're doing is not lawful. And what the governor and the mayor of, as an example, you could say of Portland, and you can say certainly of Chicago, it's not lawful what they're doing. They have to be very careful.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were just talking about that. How Chicago is allowing people to commit crimes against federal authorities. That is lunacy. Okay. Now, this is good that the Trump administration is focusing on Antifa because we've known for many, many years they are behind some of the biggest riots, violent behavior, and no one has ever held them accountable. Think of this. During the Black Lives Matter riots, not movement, riots, there were people that were arrested, but you know what happened to them in the end? They were let go and charges were dropped. Now, they always want to bring up January 6th, but what you can't argue with people who were part of January 6th, even if they weren't physically there, they all went to prison. Nobody got off. And some of them were in prison for many years, 3 years. Lives ruined. It's on their record. So, yeah, I don't want to hear about the crying about what Trump is doing here. Okay, so let's go to Pam Bondi. Here she is providing more information about what they are doing here. Take a look.
Antifa feels empowered to operate in the open because weak Democrats have turned a blind eye to their actions. Their hatred for President Trump and for law and order agendas fuels their violence. We've seen more than 1,000% increase in attacks against our ICE agents since January 20th. Secretary Noem is out there fighting for you firsthand to keep our federal officers safe, to keep our federal buildings safe, and we're not going to have it anymore, these thugs. We saw what's happening in Portland and Chicago, and you saw what happened in Dallas. No longer. This is not activism. It's anarchy. We can't and we will not let masked terrorists burn our buildings, attack our law enforcement, and intimidate our communities. Under your leadership, President Trump, we're deploying the full might of the federal law enforcement to crack down on Antifa and other domestic terrorist organizations.
Listen, guys, they are this dangerous, and I have a clip to show you just to prove it to you. This is a story that is not being reported by mainstream media. Okay, we're talking about the CNNs of the world, MSDNCs of the world, legacy media. These people aren't going to push this story because it goes counter to their narrative that there are peaceful protests, which we know is not true, and that what the president is doing is exceeding his presidential authority, which is also not true. And as you listen to this, I want you to think to yourself, for the people who disagree with the president, this is another question to ask them. Do they support this type of behavior? Take a look.
New bulletins from the Center for Internet Security and Department of Homeland Security stating ICE agents and facilities have been targeted by an anarchist website in Chicago. The law enforcement threat assessment from the Center for Internet Security says at least 4 Chicago area ICE facilities, including Broadview, have been surveilled with detailed layouts, diagrams, and photos posted to what is described as an anarchist website. Also found on the website, reviewed by the ABC 7i team, photos of ICE agents, including names, faces, and badge numbers.
There has been an increase in the attempt to gather information online and publish it even on websites publicly available.
A separate Department of Homeland Security Joint Intelligence Bulletin from this month advises ICE facilities and personnel face an increased threat from domestic violent extremists, similar to the 2 shootings at ICE facilities in Texas in September and July.
These are law enforcement operations, and these are law enforcement officers that are doing what they were sworn to do.
ABC 7 police affairs consultant Bill Kushner says the enhanced federal action in Chicago brings enhanced risk to immigration operations.
The more people resist this in a violent fashion, the more violence is going to be used to defend the officer.
That's what they don't understand. There's a concept in life that is so true, scientifically perfect. Force negates. The more they try to force, and fight against the president and this administration, particularly law enforcement, the more they will be met with force and everything will backfire. They will not get the results that they want. And that is the bottom line to this story. Now let's go to our next one. So Katie Porter is a Democrat representative. She's running to be the next governor of that state. I think this interview from this representative sums up why more people will continue to leave California, because if she becomes the next governor, if you think Gavin Newsom is dangerous, wait till you see this. Let's go ahead and play that now.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, ma'am?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I
think
feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
argumentative. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer.
Yeah, she's a psycho. Okay, I'm not a doctor, and don't look at me for a diagnosis. But guys, I'm going to continue to show you more of this. But let's just back up and address the elephant in the room. If you're running to be the governor of a state that has 44 million people, 44. Now, I might say 60 million if you count the illegals, but I digress. 44 million. Yeah, I think you're going to need 40% of people who voted for Trump. I think you'll need some of them. No question about it. Now, let me just cut to the chase. More than likely, if she is the primary if she wins the primary and she's the official candidate, she'll probably become the next governor. Okay? Just accept it now. Why? Because I am not convinced there will be a Republican governor. And the last time there was, it only came in the form of a recall.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care. I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting is a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses to that question. And I've asked everybody the same follow-up question.
She's worse than Kamala Harris. I mean, she clearly was flustered there. Wants to end the interview. She wants to walk out of there. And it's just funny that she got that upset. So someone who's getting that upset in an interview is fit to lead, again, 44 million on paper, but probably 60 million people in California. I don't know, man. Especially this story that is going viral now because this clip was going viral. I'll take over here. This is an article posted by New York Post. Representative Katie Porter scolded ex-husband's scalp with potatoes. Doesn't make sense, but when you read this, you start realizing how crazy she gets. So, according to the former husband, she said that he or she frequently abused him verbally through toys, books, and other objects at him during their marriage, even pouring scalding hot mashed potatoes on his head during a fight, according to divorce records. Okay, yeah, you guys let me know what you think about Katie Porter there. I just, I can't get enough of it. I might watch it again later on today. All right, so let's go to this next clip because CNN usually wants to bring on people and try to capitalize on this viral moment. And here is this representative out of Nevada. He says that he doesn't mind what happened.
She was being asked whether or not she needed those votes and what she would do to entice them, and said she didn't need them. What do you make of that? Is that a good message?
Well, what I'm focused on in Nevada is actually listening and learning from the constituents that I represent. My district covers 50,000 square miles from rural Nevada to the urban communities of Las Vegas and North Las Vegas. And what my constituents tell me is that today, their health premiums are about to double if Congress doesn't do its job to act. They are worried about the cost of housing and childcare and groceries and energy costs. And that is why House Democrats have said, cancel the cuts, lower the cost on the American people, and let's save health care by making sure that we extend these premium tax credits so that insurance doesn't double or triple on behalf of the American people. That's what Nevadans and people all across the country are concerned about, and that's what House Democrats, led by Hakeem Jeffries, are fighting for and standing up for here in Congress. It's time for Speaker Johnson to have the respect for the American people and reopen Congress so that we can do our job.
I think she might want to sit down for a meeting with him because CNN tried to lead him on with a particular question and he wasn't buying it. You would think if you want to be the governor of the state of California that you'd learn that same trick politically. Listen, all politicians do that. If they don't want to answer a question, they go back to their main talking point or whatever the unified message is right now. As you guys heard, that's the Democrats' unified message right now. Is it resonating? I don't think so, but that's just me. But clearly she's not ready. And that's why she said this is her first time sitting down and having to do, I mean, what a way to show that you're not ready. Listen, we all make mistakes. I get that, but she is unhinged. We're way past mistakes with her. Okay, based on her situation personally. Okay, now let's go to Fox News version of this interview and what they had to say.
It is the bare minimum in politics that you should be able to analyze your own race and that you should be able to speak to the 40% of voters who might not otherwise agree with you. Presumably, she would like to be the governor for all Californians, which includes those 40%. She can't even countenance a follow-up question on that. And I think the most telling sentence in here is she says, "I've never had to do this ever." What kind of bubble do you live in if you have not received a follow-up question? How have you been isolating yourself from every single person who might ask you something tough when it is literally your job to answer to reporters and to constituents? I would encourage everyone to ask her more and more questions because she needs so much practice at this.
All right.
I'm just amazed by this interaction.
Yeah, I just think it's fascinating. Don't get into politics if you can't answer tough questions. I think that is a fair thing to say. And that takes us to our next update, which is also election related. Jay Jones, the Democrat candidate for Attorney General out of Virginia. Well, Nancy Pelosi went on CNN earlier today and they asked her about him. And I think you guys won't be shocked by her response. Take a listen.
There is a Democrat running for Attorney General who's embroiled in a scandal over text messages in which he, the Democrat, said that the GOP Speaker of the House of Delegates should get 2 bullets to the head for how he paid tribute to a former moderate Democratic lawmaker who died. He has apologized. Should he get out of the race?
Well, that's up to the people, the leaders in Virginia. They have said he has apologized. What I understand is they say that on balance he's the better person to be Attorney General. But that's up to them. But I wish there would be enough fuss of all the times that people have said they were going to put a bullet in my head right in public. In the public
I think
domain.
it's because of that. That's one of the reasons I wanted to ask you that. You are somebody who knows all too well in a horrific way.
We have to get rid of that kind of language. I mean, it's just not appropriate.
If you were Abigail Spanberger, who's the Democrat running for governor, would you call on him to step aside?
But she has to do what she has to do. She's going to be governor. She's running very well. Everybody's very proud of her candidacy. And her race is her race, and her state is her state, and it's up to her. I really don't get involved in other people's races, that the mayor of New York, that this, of that. It's up to the people in that state, and I respect their judgment and wish them well. And she and Mikey Sherrill will both be new women governors, and I'm very excited about that.
All right, so point number 1, the fact that they are refusing to call for him to drop out of the race is nothing short of disaster. And why is that? That means every step of the way so far, Democrats are continuing to double down and embrace this type of rhetoric. You would think, given what recently happened to Charlie Kirk, that common sense would say that they would come out and say, hey, you know what, we're calling for him to drop out. Now, obviously, people have already voted through the mail. So even if he was to drop out, does that mean they won't vote for him? Who knows? But I wouldn't expect anything less from Nancy Pelosi. But let's get to some results, right? Because Fox News published this poll where they showed the media coverage surrounding Jay Jones. And I think it's going to be interesting for you to see. Take a look.
Substantial race in an off-year election, 63 seconds coverage on NBC, nothing on the other 2 big networks, nothing on PBS. It's like this never happened.
Well, that is not surprising in any way because most of the corporate media view their job as existing to help out the Democrat Party with their campaigns. And so it happens on literally every issue, whether it's an actual race and a candidate that they're trying to help out. We know that if this were a Republican candidate, it would be leading every single news show. And every Republican official in America would be forced to ask about it. We now have a situation in the Democrat Party where there's open support for left-wing violence and nobody's really getting asked hard questions.
Well, they may not want to ask hard questions because we saw what happened with the candidate out of California, how she almost flipped out on that investigative journalist for just asking basic questions. But I digress. Take a look at this from Guy Benson. He put this up. New York Times coverage of the Jay Jones, quote, I want to shoot evil Republicans in the head and also murder their fastest children scandal in Virginia. All the news that's fit to print. Look at that. You go search up New York Times, you will not find Jay Jones as a leading story in those text messages. But what you will find are other stories that have nothing to do with this election. It's crazy. It's manipulation of information. Some people say it's election interference. But this is the power of the media. This is why I continue to bring up this particular story, because people need to know about this. This is who Jay Jones really is. In private, we get to see who you are. Okay, in front of the cameras, that's a whole nother thing. Okay, so let's hear from you guys in the comment section below to these stories today. Let's start with the California candidate running for governor. She, psycho, right? Do you believe, and by the way, here's the question. Do you believe she will be the next governor of California? Let me know in the comments section. Secondly, what do you make of the president hosting a roundtable to go after Antifa? It's about time. Do you believe they will be successful in this endeavor to stop them from the violence and this continuous uprising, especially against ICE officers? Let me know if you believe something will happen to them. And finally, what do you make of the Chicago mayor continuing, in my opinion, to put the people of Chicago in harm's way by this violent rhetoric against the president, including the governor, who says he wants the president to come get him? You let me know what your message is to the governor and that mayor. Put all your thoughts and everything you got in the comment section below. Now this takes us to our next video, where air traffic controllers across the country are calling out sick due to the government shutdown. This is leading to huge delays with flights. And so we get into that, plus more updates from yesterday. So if you're interested, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.